There are some pieces of furniture that you see and immediately know what they are. A chair is a chair, a table is a table, and then there are pieces like this. This is called a dumbwaiter. And if you're like me, the first time you hear that word, you probably picture a little elevator that goes up and down in a house carrying food from one floor to another. And that's actually where the name comes from. But this is a different kind of dumbwaiter. It's a piece of furniture, and honestly, it's a little strange. It has 3 tiers, turned columns, carved details, and feet that look like they belong on a much more important piece of furniture. And when I first got it, it was also a little tired. The finish was worn, some of the details have been altered over the years, and some of the decorative gallery pieces weren't even made from wood. But underneath all of that was something I thought was worth saving. And that raises a bigger question. Why? Why do we restore old furniture? Why spend hours taking something apart, cleaning it, repairing it, stripping it, sanding it, finishing it, and putting it back together, when you could just simply buy something new? Or better yet, why not build something yourself? I have a woodworking shop, I have the tools, I could build a new 3-tier serving stand in whatever style I wanted. It would probably be easier, and it would certainly be cleaner, and it would be mine from the very beginning. So why restore this? I think the answer starts with understanding what this thing actually was. The furniture dumbwaiter has a long history in English and American homes. By the 18th and 19th centuries, dumbwaiters were being used as small serving tables, often with multiple tiers designed to hold plates, dishes, food, drinks, and other things needed during a meal. The name dumb didn't mean stupid, it meant silent. A dumbwaiter was essentially a silent servant. It could sit beside a dining table loaded with food or dishes, allowing people to serve themselves without requiring a servant to constantly move back and forth. Furniture doesn't tell us how people decorated their homes, it tells us how they lived. A piece like this was part of a completely domestic world. Meals were different, homes were different, and even the way people thought about servants, privacy, and hospitality was different. This particular style also overlaps with furniture forms known as a whatnot or an étagère, open-tiered furniture designed to display things. Yeah, I had to look that word up too.
Sure. Okay.
And the name whatnot is actually wonderfully appropriate. It basically means a place to put whatever. Books, china, silver, flowers, objects you've collected. Things you don't necessarily know what to do with, but like looking at. And that's part of what makes this piece interesting to me. It was designed for a purpose, but that purpose was never particularly narrow. And that is exactly why I think old furniture survives. It changes, the people change, the rooms change, the way we use our homes changes. But a good piece of furniture can adapt. Maybe it started out carrying dinner plates. Maybe it held tea. Maybe it displayed someone's collection of porcelain. And eventually ended up in a garage, an estate sale, or somebody's storage room. At some point, somebody looks at this and says, "Is this worth saving?" That's the moment I find fascinating, because restoration isn't really about bringing something back to exactly the way it was. At least I don't think it always should be. Sometimes restoration is preservation. You repair something because its original condition matters. You want to maintain the story. You want to preserve the craftsmanship. But sometimes you're doing something slightly different. You're giving an old object another life. And that was really the challenge with this dumbwaiter. What do you do with a piece of furniture whose original purpose doesn't really exist anymore? Most of us don't live in a Victorian house with formal dining rooms and servants. We don't need a silent servant sitting beside the dining table. And we're probably not going to use this to carry dinner from kitchen to the dining room. But that doesn't mean the piece becomes useless. Maybe today it becomes a serving stand for afternoon tea, and that's actually a pretty good fit. Tea is still something people gather around. You can put the cups and plates on one level, the food on another, maybe some flowers or a teapot on the top. Suddenly, the furniture has a job again. Or maybe it becomes a place for books, or family photographs, or silverware, or things that you've collected over the years. The function changes, but the basic idea remains. It's still a piece of furniture designed to hold the things that matter to you. And that's where I think restoration really gets interesting. Because we're not just restoring wood, we're restoring relevance. And sometimes that means changing the appearance. That can be a controversial idea. There are some people who believe that antique should look exactly like an antique, and I understand that. If something is historically significant, then changing it can destroy part of what makes it important. But not every old piece of furniture is sitting in a museum. Sometimes it's sitting in somebody's garage. And if the choice between changing it and giving it another 50 years of life, or leaving it untouched until someone throws it away, I think there's a pretty strong argument for changing it. That's what I was thinking about with this piece. Some of the original decorative elements weren't even particularly good candidates for keeping. The carved gallery pieces were made from MDF. They didn't have a character of the original wood. And once I started looking at the piece as a whole, I realized that I didn't necessarily want to recreate what it had been. I wanted to figure out what it could become. So I started taking it apart, cleaning it, repairing it, stripping away the years of finish. And as always happens with old furniture, once you get past the surface, you start finding the story. Every scratch, every repair, every hole, every little imperfection is evidence that somebody used this thing. Somebody owned it, somebody cared about it enough to keep it around. And maybe that's one of the reasons we all like restoration videos so much, because we're watching something come back to life. There's something deeply satisfying about that transformation. We start with something that looks useless, dirty, broken, forgotten, and then piece by piece we uncover what was underneath. I think there's something more going on than simple before and after satisfaction. We're watching someone make a series of decisions. Should this stay? Should this go? Should this be repaired? Should this be replaced? Should I preserve this imperfection? Should I change it? And eventually the object starts to tell us what it wants to become. That's probably why I enjoy watching other people restore things. And it's definitely why I enjoy doing it myself. There's a little mystery involved. When you build something from scratch, you already know what you're trying to make. You start with a pile of lumber and a drawing or an idea, and eventually you arrive at a finished piece. Restoration's a little bit different. The finished piece is already there. You're trying to discover it, and sometimes you get it wrong. Sometimes the original maker made a decision you don't understand until you take the piece apart. Sometimes somebody repaired it badly 50 years ago. Sometimes you find a detail that you never would have thought to put into a new piece. And sometimes you find out that the thing you thought was worth saving isn't worth saving at all. But when it works, there's something incredibly satisfying about it. Because you didn't make the furniture, you rescued the furniture. And I think that's an important distinction. A new piece can be beautiful. In some cases, a new piece can be better. But if I built a dumbwaiter from scratch, I could make every joint perfect. I could choose the exact dimensions. I could choose the wood. I could design it around a modern house. And there's tremendous value in that. That's craftsmanship. But a new piece doesn't have history. This one does. Even if I don't know exactly who owned it, even if I don't know what meals were served from it, even if I don't know how many houses it's lived in, it has been somewhere. It has been used, and it survived long enough to make its way into my shop. That's something you can't manufacture. You can build a replica, you can build its history. And maybe that's the real reason we restore old things. We like that something can have a life before us. And if we're willing to put in the work, a life after us. That's true of furniture, it's true of houses, it's true of tools. It's true of almost anything made by human hands. We don't just value the object, we value the evidence that someone cared enough to make this in the first place. And now we're making a decision to care about it again. So when I look at this dumbwaiter, I don't really see an obsolete piece of Victorian furniture anymore. I see a piece that has already had one life, and now it gets another. Maybe its next owner will use it exactly the way I imagine. Maybe they'll put it in their dining room and use it for tea. Maybe they'll fill it with books. Maybe they'll hold family photographs. Maybe they'll put something completely unexpected on it, and that's okay, because that's what furniture is supposed to do. It's supposed to live with us. It's supposed to become part of our home and our lives. And sometimes that means leaving exactly as we found it. And sometimes it means changing it enough that we can fall in love with it all over again. That's the part of the restoration that I think is overlooked. We're not always trying to go backwards. Sometimes we're trying to move forward without throwing the past away. And maybe that's why these restoration videos are so satisfying to watch. Because somewhere in that process, we're reminded that old doesn't necessarily mean useless. Damaged doesn't necessarily mean finished, and forgotten doesn't necessarily mean unimportant. Sometimes all something needs is somebody to see what it could become. And that's what I was trying to do with this old dumbwaiter. Not rescue the past, not pretend that the 1890s is 2026. Just take something that had become irrelevant and give it a reason to be here again. And I think that's a pretty good reason to restore anything.